Generative AI has absolutely exploded onto the scene. It's creating art, music, text, stuff that is just shockingly human. And look, this isn't just another tech update. It's a massive shift that's sending shockwaves through, well, every creative field you can think of. This is a revolution that's forcing us to ask some really big questions about what creativity even is.
So, you know what? Let's just jump right in with a little test.
Take a good look at these two images. On the left, you've got this moody, really atmospheric ocean wave. And on the right, this super soft, kind of ethereal cloudscape. One of them has that human touch, right? The other is just the product of an algorithm. So, which is which? Go on, make your pick. All right, got your answer locked in? Well, plot twist, this was a trick question. Both of them were generated by an AI. And hey, if you got it wrong, don't feel bad. You are definitely not alone. This is exactly what we're talking about. That line between what a human creates and what a machine creates, it's blurring faster than any of us could have imagined. Okay, let's really get into this. To wrap our heads around what's happening, we're going to look at AI as a new creative partner. But first, we have to tackle the very real fear of replacement. Then we'll explore the argument for AI as a tool for augmentation, ask if originality is basically dead, and finally, look at how we might build a new future. Let's start with the most gut-level feeling this tech brings up for so many people: fear. I mean, for artists, writers, designers, coders, this isn't some abstract debate. It's personal. Is my job, my whole career, at risk here? And this quote from a Reddit user who's deep in the visual effects world, man, it just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures that anxiety. The fear isn't just about a new piece of software. It's about this feeling of a culture clash, this deep-seated worry that the endgame here isn't to help creatives, but to replace them, to save a buck. And look, this isn't just paranoia bubbling up on internet forums. These conversations are moving into corporate strategy. According to the Dacre report, which looked at creativity and AI, what's being said behind closed doors is pretty blunt. And this quote, wow, it just lays bare that unspoken reality. The language they're using in boardrooms is stark. They're literally comparing an AI thick staffing plan versus a human thick staffing plan. The logic is cold, but it's simple. If you can automate the so-called grunt work that junior talent usually handles, you slash costs. And if you're the one just starting your career, that's not just business. That's a direct threat. But that is only one side of the coin, a pretty scary side for sure. So let's flip it over and look at the counter-argument. The idea that AI isn't a replacement at all, but an augmentation, a powerful new tool that's going to elevate human creativity, not destroy it. You know, history actually gives us a pretty good map here. Painters totally freaked out about the camera. Photographers thought Photoshop was the end of their craft. Draftsmen were replaced by CAD software. And every single time, the profession didn't die. It evolved. The tools changed, different skills became important, and honestly, the creative possibilities just got bigger. And this is already happening. Creatives are using AI as this incredible assistant. Writers are using it to smash through writer's block, just bouncing ideas off it like a partner who never gets tired. Designers are generating dozens of variations in minutes, not days. It's becoming the perfect tool for handling all the tedious bits, which frees up the human to focus on the big ideas, the strategy, the why. So this all leads to a much deeper kind of head-spinning question. If a machine can create art, what does that even mean for human originality? When an AI spits out a beautiful image, who's the author? Does it even count as art? So before we can even have this debate, we need to be on the same page. In copyright law, originality isn't about how brilliant a piece of art is. It's much simpler. It's just, does the work come from an author's own independent thought? The bar is actually pretty low, but the key word has always been author, a human author. And this is where it gets really messy, because the world cannot agree on how to apply these old laws. On one side, you've got a court in China that said, yeah, if your prompts are detailed enough, that's enough creative input to get a copyright. But then in the US, the Copyright Office is saying, nope, absolutely not. Only the edits a human makes after the AI generates something can be protected. Nobody has this figured out yet. But what if the biggest factor here isn't the law, but our own brains? There was this fascinating study where researchers showed people a bunch of art that was every single piece, made by AI. But they lied. They labeled some of it human-made and some of it AI-made. And the results were wild. People consistently rated the art they thought was made by a human as better, more profound, even more valuable. So, what does that tell us? It means we're not just looking at the pixels. The study found that when we think a person is behind the work, we lean in. We look for the story, the struggle, the emotion. We're searching for the soul of the artist in their work. We just instinctively value that human story. So where do we go from here? Well, it really seems like the conversation is shifting. It's less about if we should use AI, and way more about how we can work with it to build a new creative future. As AI starts handling more of the technical execution, a whole new set of human skills is becoming way more important. Things like taste, just knowing what's good, prompt engineering, the art of telling the machine what you want, and maybe most crucial of all, strategic judgment and ethics, the wisdom to decide not just what to make, but why it should even exist. This little phrase from the Dacre report just sums it up perfectly. Human-led, tech-enabled. The goal here isn't machines taking over. It's a partnership. It's about combining our messy, brilliant human ingenuity with the incredible power and speed of the machine. And this is the key takeaway, right here. When anyone can tell an AI to make a pretty picture or write a decent paragraph, the technical skill of doing it becomes common. It gets commoditized. So the real value, it shifts upwards to the big idea, the unique vision, the personal taste, the stuff that only a human can bring. Which leaves us with one final thought. The tools have changed. They always do. The camera, Photoshop, the computer, and now AI. So the real question isn't whether AI can create. The question we all need to be asking ourselves is, what part of my creativity, my vision, is truly irreplaceable? What's the one thing that only I can bring to the table?